Alright, so here are the strength goals that I aim for in my training to build an awesome, strong, functional, great looking physique. The reasoning behind these goals is basically that a good physique is a strong physique. Once you're strong enough, you'll have built enough muscle, and from there looking good really just comes down to getting your body fat low, which with enough muscle mass is really easy and will take a few months max. Gains, making serious progress with your strength and building the muscle required to look great and be able to do really strong, cool movements, that is a long game. That is what takes more like 5 years, 10 years to really build significant amounts of. But that strength isn't complex to build. It only needs to be in a few planes of motion. And so my 5 chosen movement goals just represent really high levels of strength in each of those basic planes. These goals I'm about to show you are all roughly equivalent in terms of relative levels of strength required. They're all an advanced level of difficulty, but they're all achievable given enough time working on these with enough focus. And the whole point of them is they will leave you jacked by the time you achieve them. You build up to this level of strength and you will not be able to avoid having an insane looking physique as a result, because the muscle mass required to do these movements is just impressive. You add to that the fact that these movements, being bodyweight movements, all depending on how much weight you carry, mean that you're going to have to be very lean in order to perform any of them. So you can't just be strong and have muscle mass, you also have to have low body fat, which means that by the time you achieve these movements, you have to have a really good looking physique as a requirement. So you literally can't do these movement goals without being shredded, which makes them a really simple, nice, performance-based goal to work towards, and you know that you'll look great as well by the time you get there. So I don't train any of these movements exactly. These are more indicative. These are the levels of strength, a way of measuring where I'm trying to get to and being able to track my progress towards them over time. What I do instead is train the related movement pattern across its full range of motion, constantly at maximum difficulty at my strength limit. But these goals give you very clear standards to work towards, and you will see those improving as you train the full movements, because they are part of these full movements, and you will see your progress on them, if you're training well, creeping up every single week every time you train the full movement. Okay, so what are the goals? The first is a straddle planche. So this movement I train using planche push-ups assisted with my feet when I need it, but the goal is to be able to hold yourself out in a planche position, legs straddled, hips level, and arms straight. Okay, so that's our horizontal pushing movement. The second goal is a front lever. This movement I train using front lever rows, again, just loading it to max throughout the full range of motion and using my feet to help when I need it. The goal here, again, is to be able to hold your body out straight, legs together, again, arms straight. Okay, so that's our horizontal pulling goal. The third goal is the handstand push-up. Again, this I'm training by loading it to max throughout the full range of motion, and again, using my feet as needed to help me through it. But the goal is to be able to perform a handstand push-up freestanding on either rings or parallettes. Again, full range of motion. So that's our vertical pushing movement. The fourth goal is a one-arm chin-up. Again, these I train using my feet to assist me to keep it loaded at 100% effort through full range of motion. But the goal is just an unassisted one-arm chin-up, top to bottom, and that's our vertical pulling goal. Okay, and then finally, the lower body goal is a single leg squat loaded with 75% of your body weight on your back. So for me, that's like adding 60 kilos worth of weighted vests. And again, this I train by loading to max through full range of motion. So I'll use assistance from the other leg as needed when it's hard, and then at the top when it's easier, I'll add in resistance either with a partner pushing down on me or adding my own resistance from some sort of anchor point to keep it loaded. So when you train this movement in this way, you're actually training hip and knee extension, because the whole thing is difficult. Knee extension dominant at the bottom, hip extension dominant at the top, but the goal is more knee extension focused. Again, we're just trying to do a single leg squat unassisted with that weight on us. So it's more focused on the bottom half of the movement. It's difficult, but again, it's just indicative. So they are the goals. It's pretty simple. 5 strength goals that I'm working towards and that I teach all my students to work towards long term in our training. So it's pretty simple, but that is the whole point. Those 5 goals are all our training is trying to achieve. The closer we get to those goals, the more jacked and physically capable we are. And so long-term training is just about continuously pushing just a bit further towards those goals, to the point where you see me now almost achieving these goals and having more strength and athletic ability and nice physique than I ever even hoped to get starting out with this sort of training. So you can go check out my website and other videos for plenty of information on specifically how do we train these movements, but I think it's really important to be clear on what is the goal, what are we trying to achieve specifically with our training, and then keeping that at the forefront of your mind from the first day so that you can stay clear and with a purpose long term, because that is how you make real progress. It's continuously working towards these big goals, very few of them, but very worthwhile goals, and just continuing to work towards them for long enough without getting distracted by other things. Because if you can achieve these 5 movements, you will look insane and you will have all the strength and functional ability that you could ever want from this sort of strength or bodyweight training. So you can go read and watch my other stuff for the how, but regardless of how you get there, if you can build these goals, you'll have everything you could ask for in terms of functional strength and a fantastic physique.